Have you ever wanted to play a game where you just buy things and sell things and manage a vertically integrated economic supply chain? No? Probably not your game. But once Googled, best economic simulators, and this game was mentioned. Checked it out. It's from about 20 years ago, released 2001. There's a new game out called Capitalism Lab, but I, being a person who likes to play games from the late 90s, early 2000s, wanted to check this out instead. So let's get started. By the way, I'm going to turn the music off because it's really loud for some reason. So let me do that, actually, and I'm going to load a game and turn the music off. Oh gosh, alright, there we go. And then create a new game. Alright, so if you've never played this before, wait, what is this? Okay, whatever. There's a campaign, if you've never played it before, where there's an entrepreneur's campaign, and it'll just introduce you to the game, but instead of doing that, you can just follow some YouTube guides. So, let's go to custom game, and difficulty level, I like to customize it. Let's just call this the Danger Duck Inc. Call ourselves DD or Dandu. Yeah, Danger Duck. And here in our environment, I just like to just start with $30 million or so. Random events sometimes happen, seldom. And basically, you can choose either anywhere from 1 to 4 cities that you can build things in. These will all be randomized. We'll just go to the maximum number of cities. We'll start the game in 1990. This allows for a lot of inventions not to be available yet, so you get a temporary monopoly. Here, we have many stores instead of just one type of store. So, as you can see, it's supermarkets, furniture, etc. I'm going to turn off stock investments for now. I have actually not played with this. We're just going to focus on, rather than, your own shares, and deal with the possibility that somebody buys you out and game over for you because you didn't pay attention to buying your own stock. We'll just turn that off. So you'll be the sole owner of your company. So it's basically like a public versus private company sort of deal. And I'm saying, no, I don't want to be public. I want to be private. Complex city economy. As you can see, everyone will have its own local economy. So this makes it a little harder, right? It's not static. You can't just assume there's always going to be an economic boom. You can have anywhere from an economic panic to a boom. Alright, competition-wise, I want the maximum number of competitors, all 10. They also have moderate capital, but actually, we'll see soon enough, but you'll start with about 30 million. They'll start with around 100 million, so they'll have more. And I don't know what this means. We'll just go high. Well, I've not tried high before. We'll have them have high expertise as well. In terms of trade secrets, let's see how this changes the difficulty level. If I turn it off, I'll turn it on just so you can see a feature in the game, since this is somewhat of a learning game. And then in terms of local competitors, we'll just say moderate for now. And a lot of these things may not mean anything until we get into the game. So yeah, for now I'm just setting the number of seaports. This also just makes it harder to import quality. I'll put it to moderate instead of low. And finally, let's just have the goal be in 10. Ooh, this is one annoying thing I have. One part I really hate about the game is you cannot click one by one. Alright, 11 years. Excuse me. Our goal will be that we become a billionaire within 11 years. Yeah. If somebody knows how to click more with more finesse, 1.1 billion, why not? And yeah, so we'll do that. 105% difficult rating. Not sure what that means. And we'll say the operating profit is also $1 billion. Oh, it's so hard. Okay. So yeah. Hopefully this is achievable, but hey, this is what we want to try to do. So let's go. We'll start a game. And immediately what I'm going to do is, there's actually a manual online you can Google. It's very useful to look at hotkeys and it's very in-depth. But we'll just start the game. I'm going to press 0 to pause it right away. And you can see at the bottom I have $30 million in cash. No profit because all I have is a pile of cash. And 4 cities are randomly generated. We have Kingston, LA, Philadelphia, and Shenyang, right? And we can see for every city, you can alternate through by pressing the bracket key or dropping down here. But each city, one moment, will actually have a salary level and a spending level. So it looks like Shenyang and Kingston are the cheapest places. So basically, if you have factories or any sort of building, you'll have to hire employees to run them, and this will show how much you'd have to spend on employees or your break-even cost. There's a few different views. This is a city view, and you'll see if your firm has anything, which it doesn't because I haven't built anything. This is the land value view, where it's good to build. The higher the land value, the more traffic a store may be, but also you might not want to build a factory right next to here because it'll be very expensive. The next view here shows profitability of firms, but we don't see that since we don't have anything again. This is a very useful one. This shows the natural resources available. And in particular, I'm going to be looking for timber, T for timber, to see if there's any towns with that. For instance, here, Shenyang has timber. It's very cheap to get. Once you buy the land, so for instance, if you build a logging camp, that's going to be 1.5 million. And the land cost, even though here it looked like it was cheaper, it's not quite accurate. So this, I believe, is at least this much, but basically this is the cost of, here I'll show you. If I have, for instance, a farm, the land cost here is additional 463. This is the additional land cost in order to buy the timber, because it's what the timber resources are plus that. Anyway, but there's a lot of different resources. Now, before we get started, again, I'm going to press I for just a corporate summary, and we can see immediately that the competitors all start with more money than us, which is fine. See, we're at 30 million. This guy has 3 times as much. This has 2.5. This guy has almost 4 times as much. We're the poorest company. So this is why I'm fine with starting with moderate and the AI on moderate. Corporate detail wise, no firms. I don't think everybody's just starting a game, right? So all these firms, all 10 of them, so you and 9 others, see the same information and must decide, what do I want to do to start my business? And here are the products. These are the finished products. Here there's some industrial products that have no output, and another way to see all those products is go to the manufacturer guide. So you can see output wise, these are final products or sometimes intermediate products. And here you can see what consumer goods are. So industrial goods are the following, right? Like aluminum, CPUs, car bodies. You can sell these to factories that finally assemble them into final consumer goods, which are the following here. Anything from air conditioning, so on and so forth. So there's lots of different products. One way to see all the products, for instance, is to go to the Technology tab. So again, corporate detail, technology, and you can see all the different technologies you can research. So yeah, no one's doing anything. And one thing I like to do, and this is just through playing a bit. Oh, by the way, got this game about a week ago. Really liked it. Played it a lot. So there are many things I may not know. But this is what I got after a week. Okay. So if we go back to the manufacturer's guide, I want to show you that there's certain things that, like beds, for instance, that have only one input. So beds are made out of timber. I'm really concerned that playing this game will actually deceive me into how simple it is to make something. Like maybe you just get some timber yourself and you can make a bed. I guess that's a thing through a factory. But for instance, fruit snacks is another one. I typed F for fruit snacks and it'll go to the first letter. Did you know that if you just put a lot of strawberries together in a factory, it turns into fruit snacks? Or how about, bread is clearly just flour. You just mash the flour together. But anyway, so we're going to start with beds because I found this is a very profitable segment. And you can see the quality of a bed is determined by half of it is how good your raw materials are, and half of it is how good your technology is. Now, at the start of the game, if you go back to the corporate detail report to technology, you can see all techs are at 30 out of 100, meaning it's a 3 out of 10 in that form of quality, right? So if I make a bed, the technology of the bed, and you can see also if I go to product type bed, for instance, click here, go to product details, right? You can see the local quality is actually pretty shitty for a lot of these beds. And so also, on the very right, it shows the factors involved in terms of how willing customers are. The weights the locals have on price versus quality versus brand. So maybe you have a very cheap bed. The Chinese people and the Kingston people will love it. Whereas in LA, it's a little more. They're a little more into quality, as you can see. Also, it's good to have the overall score low. This just shows your local competitors. So for instance, Kingston would be a good place to start a bed factory with my initial money, or at least to see if there's any timber in Kingston. So yeah, let's do that. Let's go to Kingston. Is there any timber? There is timber. How much does this timber cost? Oh, it's very good quality timber, and remember, it's 50-50. So this is 90 out of 45 quality just from the timber itself. You'll see the reserve, just this is quantity of timber you'll have. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead, plop down a logging camp here. This will cost 6 million, right? Oh, and one thing before I do is to see where I'll want my factory. So I'd want my factory close to where I want to sell the beds. But this is the only source of timber so far. Some more resources may be discovered later. But so far, just here. So here we go. Now we get to this screen. If you're new, you might just want to you can individually try to set up nodes, but if you're new, you might want to press this button and see what kind of nodes are available. I'm going to spend a little bit extra on inventory node, just in case the factory gets clogged up. And then here you'll see I already spent 8 million, nearly 8 million just to build this logging cap. Once I press use, right, that's another million because it essentially automatically spent for me another 250 grand here. Well, not a million, yeah, 250 grand. So yeah, I'll train them. Training level is not as important, but basically they can be more efficient over time and log more whole, not inventory. I don't know if that's trained. That's kind of a warehouse, but or sell more efficiently. So yeah, so we now have a logging cap. I'll put it to speed 2. I'm pressing the button 2 right now, just to see what goes on, and you can see, bam, there's timber available. But we're losing money. Why? Well, because we're not selling this to anyone. You can see here, we're producing timber, so let's build a factory. And here, we can see, for a factory, there's various types. Small, medium, and large. The medium factories, there's 2 types. Oh, there's actually 3 types. Okay. They're identical. They don't have any difference except in look, just so you can distinguish different factories. For instance, if every factory looked like this, you might not know which one's producing beds or wallets or what have you. So Kingston, right? If we go back to the population, you can see it's a pretty small town. Probably I could sell too many beds. Nonetheless, I do like to start with a medium factory rather than a small factory making beds. People need their beds. And so it's actually in an economic boom, meaning the land prices are going to be a little bit more expensive. But if I go here, I can see that the minimum land cost is essentially 486,000. As I was talking about, as you get into the city, it becomes more and more expensive. So we're going to try to get that minimum cost, right, pretty close to the city. So it looks like we can get it here. And what I'm trying to do is get it in line with our actual logging cap, but also be able to sell. And you don't sell directly from a factory. So actually one thing I want to do is see where I'll put my retail store. And you can see there's actually 16 different types. And the more specialized the store, the more volume you can sell. So we're actually going to build a furniture store, which is going to cost another million. And hopefully there's somewhere we can. So if we build on top of houses, we have to buy them out. So we want to see an empty part, like right here potentially. And you can see the land cost here is pretty expensive. So we're probably going to build it right there, right? And in which case we'll put the factory here. And so this is pretty close. Actually, even this may be even closer. So I'll plop the factory down. And again, if we click here, I actually saved a template myself about beds. Remember, beds only use timber. So we're going to use this template. And I'm going to up the training because I've played this game once a few times before. And we may not up it yet, but very soon we'll need to produce more beds. We'll up it all the way. For me, there's only 3 modes. Either you don't train, you train a little bit because of tech, or you train a lot. And usually when I start a game, I train people a lot. This does cost money. Not sure about how much yet. But okay, now I'll link. Now you can see you can link to anything. These are coming from the seaport, right, in terms of raw material. And the seaport does not have timber. I should have checked that out before. So one thing is, if I press this button, these are consumer goods where you can just sell directly to retail stores. I is intermediate goods, which are raw materials you can put into your factory. So it would have been a good idea to check to make sure there was no timber available. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is it's going to select Danger Duck Ink and select my timber. One other thing is there is a lot of clicking in this game, unfortunately. Right? And then I'll let time move a little bit because it takes time to actually produce the beds. So January 3rd, I'll move it a little faster actually, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, so on and so forth. Alright, finally managing to produce the bids. Once the picture pops up here, it means it's available to sell. So, and now it looks like we're losing a lot of money, right? But finally, we're going to put down our furniture store here. Is this cheaper? So this is actually would have the higher the land cost for retail stores, the higher the actual volume you'll get of traffic. So I'm gonna see. Yeah, I'll just place it right here. It's pretty close to the city center. Unless there's no way to put it here. Some of these buildings can't be bought out, especially commercial buildings. But I'll just put it here just to make it pretty close. Actually, I'll put it right here. It's a little bit more expensive by about 45 grand, but it should give me a little more foot traffic in the long term. And there's a lot of layouts we can do, but one other way to do it is this: bed, 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 bed. Good. Alright, and I'll train the store to sell our beds. Now I'm going to put it on 2, so immediately they're purchasing beds. I'm pausing it again. Why? Double click. Let's see what's going on in the local market. So we picked Kingston because you can see the overall quality of our beds, right? Sorry, so if we look at our bed, our quality is actually 60. Remember, we have 45 quality from the raw materials, but only 15 because it's 3 out of 10 divided by 2, right? 30 out of 10. This quality is out of 100 from the production technology. But that easily beats out the local quality. So you can see the local here. And one other thing is brand isn't as important in Kingston. Actually, it's the second most important. I take that back. But really, they're really concerned about price. But the overall, right, between all of these local competitors, we don't have to lower the price that much to sell. But we will because we just started, I right-click for a big sale. If I click confirm, you can see now my overall attractiveness of this product exceeds the local competitors. Now the cost of the bed, right, from the factory is $190. We do want a little more of a profit margin for the store because the store has its own costs. This just shows the purchase price of the bed. It doesn't account for all the employees, right, and the sales units and purchase units. So we will lower the price a little bit. And as it starts out, you need to ignore the supply and demand curves. Supply is in purple and demand is in red. So, one sec, just seeing something. But yeah, and these will look a little crazy at first. So don't worry about that in the very beginning until things are more in order. But again, I'm upping training all the way. And yeah, we spent half our money. And so that means we actually have room to build another factory. And okay, so one thing I could do, right, is just go to LA, plop down a store, and ship furniture from Kingston to LA. However, issue there is there's a huge freight cost to ship furniture. So instead, I'm going to look to see if LA has any timber. It does not. Actually, I'm going to go back And if I look at my beds, right, I can also click on LA to see where the next area we want to sell beds would be. The quality of beds in LA is pretty good. Quality in Shanghai is not as good. But LA is a big market, and they do care about the quality quite a bit. Remember, we're 60, so we will go to LA. Alright, so where in LA do we, since we're importing, anywhere we put the factory, the freight cost is going to be the same. I'm importing the timber, I'm not going to be importing, whatchamacallit, the bed itself. So again, looking at some rich areas of LA, it looks like we would want to, well actually let's look at the edge of the map, right? For instance, from here to here, it looks like there may be somewhere we can build our next furniture store. You can see the cost of land in LA is much more because it is another expensive place. Philadelphia, similar. So probably want to build it here. So let's again look at a medium factory. Because that seems to be the minimum, right? So if I build a factory here, store here, let's go. So yeah, put a medium bed factory here. Again, type B for bed. Use this template. Don't automatically. So now what you have to do is if I look here, oh, there's nothing here because it's in the current city. I'll have to look all the way to here, and again, we just started timber, the logging camp, so this is not representative of the actual supply. It's just it'll change over time. And if worst comes to worst, we can put another logging unit in. So okay, once again, we're going to manufacture some beds. And one thing is, you can see the freight cost of timber, it's actually triple the actual cost of the timber itself. Which reminds me to go back to Kingston and make sure my timber price. Oh, I also have a setting where I only sell to myself. But yeah, I'll show you in a moment. So you can see the cost of the bed is only 12, right? It's going to go up a little more, but I'm able to sell at a huge margin from the factory, which is I'm actually going to lower the price a little bit because it lets the retail store again make more profit. So here, LA, the cost of the bed, right, now because we're shipping it over is a lot more, but the margin's still huge, especially if we now build a retail store, furniture store, put it here, yeah, so here it's a little more expensive, but we'll be able to, oh, did a thing again. Build a bed factory. Alright. Put the speed on 3 for a moment. Now that it's selling the bed, let's look at LA. So immediately, because our quality, right, is so high, this factor is more. So once again, I'm going to right click to see, there we go, another 7 attractiveness above. There's a little game to this where this actually will change over time and you have to keep on your toes. But I usually like to put my quality at least 5 above the local quality when I'm starting out, and in order to capture market share. So now you can see if I double click again, this goes back to the store. The cost is $240. I'm selling at $270, so let's lower the price of the bed to, let's say, $165. And let's just run the game for a bit. You can see the profits going down first as we're training employees. I'm going to speed to ×4. And when this goes positive, I'm going to pause the game. Alright. Great. Now let's see what's going on. The factory, as you can see, can't pump out enough beds. But that's still a temporary problem because the supply of beds is actually way more than demand. It's just these purchase units are purchasing beds that they cannot quite sell yet. So this should be a little bit more mature in Kingston, but same dynamic here. So if I look here, I'm slowly gaining market share. But it'll have to wait. Alright, so the next one is I want to do the same thing in Philadelphia. I may not have enough money, but that may be a good opportunity to show another mechanic in the game, which is loans. So let's do the same thing where we build a medium factory. First, we're going to determine where we want to sell the beds. This looks like a good spot to have a furniture store right there. Wow, it's actually 2 million. It's in a recession. Now, the manual will say don't sell into a recession, but come on. That just means fewer bids will be bought, but given how profitable beds are, it's still worth building into a recession because that means the land prices are cheaper. Give me one moment. Alright, so let's see. Factories here. Medium factory. This is our bed factory. It looks like the minimum price is about 648. As we approach the city center, it's going to increase. 648 there, 648 there. So we'll put it on the same side of the street. Since this is, actually, a little bit closer. Right. Gonna put in, make more beds. And one more thing. If I double click, you can see all the different units. Manufacturing units are 300 grand a piece. So actually for this, sales units are 100 grand. So actually for this setup, right? So 150, 450 times 3. Can't do math right now, but around 1.35 million, or if I'm not totally tired. But yeah, we're gonna again purchase timber unless we have timber in Philadelphia, which doesn't look like we do. We'll have to import the timber again from Kingston, that nice high quality timber. And if you just forgot where your stuff was, click on this, click on my firm, and these arrows keys will direct you to anything that is your firm. Danger duck. Again, I promise we'll have enough timber because we can just cut more trees down. T, timber, link, all cities, T, timber. Okay, and then once again, just speed it up a little bit, put the training up, and beds. As you can see, we just made a factory, so the actual costs of a factory are, there's gotta employ people to manufacture beds. It's available now. Now to sell the beds once again. Build a retail store, furniture store. Do you want it here or here? Looks like here is actually a little more expensive, so we'll take it again. Oh wow! So we do have enough to make these purchase units again. Purchasing, sales, 150 grand each. So let's see if we go negative. When we go negative, we'll have to borrow money. 2, speed 2, just so the bed appears. Bam. Now in Philadelphia, you can see it's actually, we'll have to cut our price quite a bit in order to compete because their quality is actually pretty high. So at 216, we'll increase to 222. Again, 7 more. Can be a rule of thumb. 7 when you're starting out. At least 5 is what I like to do. That could be totally arbitrary. Could be wrong. But hey, try it. And now you see we're actually selling above cost. Or sorry. we're selling below cost. So let's go back to our factory. And we can see the cost of it is about 30, right? Or 27. That's weird. I think I might have been somewhere else. Anyway, so let's lower that price. 133. Still a very healthy profit for these factories. And then speed the game up a little bit. Are we training them to sell beds? Oh yeah. Let's train. So here we go. Selling beds. Once I'm going to speed it up a little. Bam. 0. Alright. We actually had enough to make more beds here. Now, we are 1 month and 15 days into the game. We can now go back to the corporate summary. So my annual revenue is 3 million. Profit is just this right now. So this always shows your annual profit. Estimated annual profit? I think? No, that can't be right. I'm pretty sure, yeah, we'll see in a moment. I'm pretty sure this shows your monthly profit, and this shows your annual, but because only a year, yeah, it's just weird. Oh yeah, it's because it's showing your profit for the past 12 months, and because, we've played less than a year, these will match. And we can see the other companies are debating what to do. Anyone else making money yet? No, some people are just holding on to their money. And when you go to corporate detail report, we can see what the other companies are doing. As you can see, I'm selling timber for a profit to myself, obviously. These guys going for sandals and shampoo. Okay, fair enough. It's weird. Remember, I did put them on expert. So it doesn't look like they're doing anything, right? So one thing they might be doing is investing in technology, which is, yeah, you can see these guys sometimes will invest. So again, the starting tech is 100, but you can go beyond that to get a technological edge. Once you get to 100, your production quality does skyrocket to 100% for whatever share. So for beds, for instance, it'll be 50 out of 50, since it's a 50-50 split between the raw materials versus production quality. But if a competitor, say, gets to 200, even if you get to 100, that 200 becomes the top tech, and then again, you're only at half of it. Again, starting with 3 out of 10. So yeah, this is not available to be seen if you have that option off, but we do have it on for now. So this guy, even though he has no products, is researching the ways of canned corn. What is canned corn? Apparently you just take corn, you don't even aluminum. I don't know where your can comes from, but you just shove it into a factory and it cans itself. You can see the protection technology, unlike beds though, it's 40-60, so really the corn is more important than your canning process here relative to the beds. But yeah, what I wanted to do though is there's one market where we're not selling beds yet. And this is Shenyang. And here is kind of an opposite issue where we actually have timber, right, of lower quality. Actually, let's go back to Kingston and see how this logging camp's coming. We can sell this for a little more. This may be more profitable. We'll train it a little bit. And you can see already see the reserves going down. And that's not good. Because it's only been a month. In like 40 months, we may not have any timber left. So, we want to expand and buy this. But you'll see what happens is I don't have enough cash. How do I get cash? I press F5 and I borrow money. Now, it's very important not to borrow up to your credit limit and then spend everything unless you know you're very profitable. Your credit limit is, I don't know the exact formula, but based on your profitability and assets, value of all your assets. And So I'm gonna borrow just enough to build that. Actually, so it looks like I'll need like 10 million to build a lumber camp. So actually, I'm just gonna wait for a bit, right? Put it on speed 4. Oh, see, we're actually losing money a little. And this is just whims of the market, right? Let's see what's going on. So you can see supply is up to demand in Los Angeles. Where's our factory? Our factory doesn't have enough timber. I'm pretty sure it's the same everywhere. So what I'm going to do is actually buy that logging camp in order to have another supply of timber in order to supply this. So in order to do that, F5, going to borrow $10 million. There's no prepayment penalty as far as I can tell. So I borrow that much, build my logging camp, right? 5 million. Again, inventory, use, layout, train a little bit, just a little bit. Put it on speed 2, bam, have timber. Now, because this quality is so much lower, I'm going to actually put this link right here. It's actually going to reduce the quality of the bed. You'll notice right now, these beds are 60 quality. Now what happens if I muddy the waters? It's going to take time for the quality to go down, but I will have to make sure I do. Oh, you can, sorry, before I do that, so I'll link it. This is demand. Yeah. The bottom one is utilization, so this is fully utilized in terms of these units. So the purchase units aren't utilized, there's just too much demand for it and not enough supply. So that you'll see one more time. The quality here is only 57 rather than 90, and the price is lower, but it actually takes a while to get here, so the freight charge is going to be more expensive. So this is actually more expensive timber, but at least we can make the bids. And you can click on the world map to see the relative location of all your things. Here's LA, Shenyang, Kingston. Oh, Kingston, Jamaica. So this distance is less than this distance. Yeah, so I'm going to do a similar thing in Philadelphia. I'm not going to switch Kingston because, you know, I'm in Kingston. Because I'm going to hope changing that node alleviates the pressure enough. And also, there's plenty of... Alright, what's going on in Kingston? It's just not a very... And you can see the market share is going up. Just flooding the market with bids. I'll check on you later. It's fine. That's right, Philadelphia. Go to my firm. Factory. Similar issue. I'm gonna link this to timber. And once again, the freight charge is a lot more. And I'll put it on speed 3. So what happens to the quality over time? I may have to refresh as it goes through though. So the timber is being purchased. Is this a bug? Is the quality really not going down? Is it just the highest quality of... No way. It's gotta be a bug. Alright. Maybe that's it. We'll find out. Anyway. Now what I wanted to do in Shenyang, right, was build a factory in order to sell. Now, even though these looks like an area I want to sell, it's not. I want to sell over here. So let's build our factories here. And once again, a medium factory. Looks like the minimum land cost is about 46,600. Where do you want to sell it though? It looks like maybe here. In terms of a retail store. Yeah? So right here. So we want the factory around there. Medium factory again. 46,200. Can get pretty close. What about the other side of the street? It's more expensive. So plop it here. Once again, beds. Using this template. Really low on cash. And remember, if I go back to the product summary report, right? Oh, here. You'll see they don't care as much about quality. So they just care about price. So I'm just going to purchase the local timber. I'm not going to ship it from... Well, that's another reason. You can always select... Although... I wonder if the quality... I'm going to test this out. Oh, there's actually timber from a port with higher... Alright, I'm going to do something very weird. I'm going to link this actually to the timber from Kingston. Link this to the timber from us. And run it and see what quality timber comes out. Quality beds come out. It should be 60. No. So you can see it's averaging. So let's see what's going on here. If these updated. It just may not have gone through the system yet. It's showing what beds are being sold. But yeah, so the beds being sold are still top quality. These beds are pretty shitty. So yeah, if I go back to the link, I just want to make sure. Yeah, the overall is not bad. So we'll see. Or is it the middle link? Here's another thing I can test. Kingston. Link this to, so yeah. Anyway, and finally our furniture store. We're going to put it right here. Not enough cash, so I have to borrow more money. And already, you can see our credit limit is more. It caused like around 21 million before. But between our loan and this is the additional money we can borrow. I'm gonna borrow a little more. I'm gonna try to do this. Bam. And add the beds. Oh, these qualities pretty good. So I'm gonna also sell from the seaport because yeah, we'll just see in a moment. So you can see here, I'm going to have to cut the price of the bid significantly because I'm at 19 out of 49, unlike these cities. And so, there, 56. If I'm selling at 148, I'm going to have to lower the price of the bed a lot. So to like, you know, maybe $100. The total cost of the bed is only 11. Looks like the quality so far hasn't changed. Chairs. Wow, that's horrible. I may just stop selling these chairs. Because the cost is so... Yeah. As you can see, even though the quality is better than the local quality, they care more about price, and the cost of it's just too much. So that was a mistake. That was an oopsie. So let's stop the purchase, link this to the beds only. So this is the danger of the seaport, right? If you sell something directly, you might have a bad day. So let's see if these chairs will be sold. We'll sell these at a loss just to get rid of them. You know, I'll sell at a local. And yeah. In the meantime, let's pay back some of those loans, shall we? Gonna put it at speed 4. Repaying loans. Repaying loans. Hold on. How's the chair sales doing? We're gonna have to cut the price. We're gonna take a loss. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. You know what? Take more of a loss. F5, paying back the loan. Paying back the loan. No, if I have to borrow money, I have run out of cash. Which is fine, I'm already here. Borrow. Exit. And again, I need to borrow money. When I borrow enough, the interest rate should be going. You can see I should be profitable, but the interest rate should be going up as I borrow too much money. Anyway, that was the store costs. So yeah, chairs are gone. We're only selling our beds again. I need to train people to sell beds. And let's look one more time at the logging camp. So you can see now I have plenty of timber here. Kingston, hopefully also the case. No. That's really odd, actually. Did I should view clients. So everyone is buying from here. But okay. I guess they don't want my shitty timber in LA. Let's take a look at the factory. Yeah, it's purchasing the timber, so we'll see. And you can see they're already at level 2, which means they're more efficient at manufacturing as well as selling. These haven't leveled up because they're not very well utilized. In fact, I may actually have 2 purchasing units in the future. Put the manufacturing here, have inventory here, and then sell. Just so, yeah, I may actually do that for anything else that is only one product. Because in the few games I've played, the purchasing units just never get fully utilized. So, yeah, may try that. Move the manufacturing unit up, right? And then put inventory in the middle for the manufactured beds and then sell it. Just so there's a supply of beds, because these units actually can't hold too many at once. Alright, so that is the introduction for now. One last thing I'll do is look at the competition. We are a little over 5 months into the game. We'll save it as... Oh. Save new. Danger ducking you. And we'll continue next time. Right after looking at the competition. So, once again, we're making a little money, not getting off to a rocky start, but we're profitable within the first 5 months by selling beds. These guys, they're still looking at the market, evaluating, letting other players play their games. These guys are losing a lot of money, so you can see everyone else is either losing money or not doing anything. They still have their starting cash. So in corporate details, let's see if they're just in unprofitable product lines. I guess shampoo, fat group, leather briefcases. Okay. But yeah, next time. Oh, one last thing. Let's look at their texts. So I'm sure they're researching other things. Yeah, so like this guy's cigars, fruit snacks. So we will get into... so they're spending their money on research, which is something you can do, but usually you want a cash stream to support the research. Otherwise, you may run out of money. But yeah, next time we will expand to another product line, which will be leather wallets, actually. I'll show you now. Leather bags, leather wallets, which is just leather again, similar to beds, but they need a farm to grow it out of instead of that logging camp. And there's less consistent supply because animals, you gotta raise them and then turn them into leather. You gotta grow up first. But yeah, and then once we have those two product lines, we'll open our first R&D center. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.